What's going on, guys? Welcome to something new called Chaotic Riffs. This is basically a segment that myself and LevytheAmishMan are going to do for various different articles, videos, and other things. And with me, as always, I have LevytheAmishMan. He is the one who alerted me to this article, and it's probably one of the most nonsensical things I've seen on the internet. I mean, it literally makes no sense, but I'm not really surprised considering that the source this comes from, that being IGN.
Mm-hmm.
IGN is notorious for having just really stupid takes on a lot of things, and nobody really seems to take their reviews seriously. So this should really be no surprise that their list for the best PS4 games, and if you read the top of the article too, it mentions these being, it says the last big exclusives of the PS4, which doesn't make any sense because in this list are multi-platform titles.
Looking through this list, like all of them, like out of all of the games that they listed on here, only 11 of them are exclusive, and the rest are multi-plat.
Yeah. And the ranking in general is just really bizarre. I mean, it's an opinion, but we can make fun of opinions that, let's be honest, are really stupid.
It's like, and people actually defend this list, saying that it's a good list. Like, looking at it, I'm like, I could make a better list, but at the same time, I would have my reasons for this list. So I'm guessing what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through this entire list and we'll give our own opinion, like a little short opinion about which game, why it should be lower or higher on the list.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Also, we'll yell out if it's a multi-plat.
Okay. So I guess I'll just go ahead and go down the list here.
Since you're the one that has to show it.
Yeah. I guess I should read this before we go forward. Please note the PSVR only games weren't eligible for the list, blah, blah, blah. We've loved PSVR. Okay, this is irrelevant.
It is irrelevant. Even though they said they love the PSVR, yet they didn't include it.
Okay. The very last thing that is ranked on here is going to piss a lot of people off, and I should say that the game did it start out as an exclusive, or was it a multi-plat? Nier Automata.
Nier Automata, it actually did start off as a PS4 exclusive, but as time went on, it went over to PC, then Xbox One, and that's just it. It went to PC. It was timed. So it was a timed exclusive.
Yeah, I don't think we should count things that are now, as of the posting of this article, no longer exclusive to PlayStation.
Yeah.
So that's not an exclusive.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nier Automata being at the bottom is pretty fucking crazy in my opinion, because I rather enjoyed Nier Automata, and I think a lot of people did, and I think it being at the bottom of this list is pretty insane, because, I mean, were there better games that came out than Nier Automata? Sure, but I don't think you'd find it at the bottom of a lot of people's lists, so that's pretty crazy to me. Let's hear their reason for doing this.
Yeah, we'll give their reasons. I think this reason for it.
Okay, actually, they don't really have a reason for why this is at the bottom. They just kind of say that it's a really good game and people should play it. But why is it at the bottom? Like, I mean, this is another thing that I guess I'm not going to like about this list. There's no real explanation for why this is ranked this way.
There's no real, I can understand. Okay, if they would have said the reason why we put it at number 25, as great as a game as it is, you have to replay it to experience the full game. So you have to go through multiple playthroughs of it. If they would have said that, but they did. They said a fantastic story with many multiple endings. They should have why the good things about it, the the cons, and why it's listed there for that reason.
I guess they're just basically going to use the excuse of, well, you should read our review for the game if you want our reasoning or our thoughts on the game. But it's like, to me, that's kind of lazy. It's like, you're going to make a ranking or a list, but you're not going to give any justification on that list for why this is ranked a certain way on the list.
I don't.
Like, what's the point? Like, I mean, the only clue we have as to what your opinion on something is where you ranked it, but then we get no reason as to why it's ranked that way.
That's another reason why I don't really like IGN's like top 10 or top 25 lists. They don't go into detail. Like a lot of top 10 lists, they go into detail of why a game is good, bad, and why it's placed there for a reason.
Yeah, and then of course next up we have Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, that's not exclusive either. It was multi-plat from the get-go. Except for...
They basically just describe Monster Hunter World and their like brief thoughts on the game, but of course, again, no reason for why it's ranked this way on the list.
Yeah, they only talked about how it impressed people. This was an impressive game. I will admit, Monster Hunter World, great game. I would put it higher on the list because it has a lot of shit to do.
Yeah. I can't really... I don't have much of an opinion on it because I haven't played it, but... and then above that, we have Apex Legends, which is a free-to-play...
Multiplayer.
Like, shooter. Yeah, it's a multiplayer game. It's not a PS4 game, or it's not a PS4 exclusive game. It's basically just, and again, another description of what the game is. No justification for why it's ranked the way it is. Above that, we have Yakuza 0, which I think a lot of people is going to piss a lot of people off too, because it's pretty fucking low on the rankings.
Even it's better.
This is a timed exclusive because it came to PC.
And then later went to Xbox One because of the Origins pack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love how it's like they even have like a fucking video to which Yakuza game should you play first? Which a lot of people will tell you the PS2 game, or they'll say 0.
Yeah, and that's what they say here too, is that it's one of the first Yakuza games you should play. I'm not really going to disagree with that. And of course they linked that video to the which Yakuza game you should play first.
Honestly.
And it's like, it's the same thing with all these other games they have ranked here. It's like, really nothing but praise. I don't really see a lot of complaints, but then it's like, but why is it number 22 if you love the game so much? Like, shouldn't it be a little bit higher than that? I don't know. That would just be like, I would think the typical mentality you would have when you make a ranking list is, you know, hey, I really like this game and there's not a lot of complaints I have. Well, shouldn't it be higher?
Yeah.
Nope. I guess not.
I'm actually gonna do another thing too. I'm gonna like post their actual fucking score of the game. For like, I'm going to say Nier Automata, 8.9. Monster Hunter World, I believe, was a 9.5. Yep, 9.5. And now we have fucking Apex Legends, 9. I love how they're putting an 8.5 game, because that's what they ranked Yakuza 0.
Yeah, if we go to the review page and they want me to turn off my ad blocker, which I'm not going to do, they can fuck themselves. Yeah, 8.5, great. So, it being ranked this way is just really weird. Next up, we have Tetris Effect. I have no opinion on this.
It's a good game, but honestly, 2 of the games on this list I would even put on here, like Apex Legends and Tetris Effect. Granted, Tetris Effect is good for its visuals and music, but I wouldn't put that on the list.
It's a really weird thing. I don't think a lot of people have really played the game, to be honest.
It came out the same day as Tetris Effect. Or, not Tetris Effect, Spyro.
I'm sure more people played Spyro. I don't think I saw Spyro on the list. Maybe it is on the list. I did not see it, though.
I'm going to give you a spoiler. None of the fucking remakes are on here, sadly.
That's interesting.
It's Tetris Effect.
Well, actually, oh, you mean the Spyro remakes,
Yeah,
not
the
like
remake.
okay, because I was about to say, okay, so again, nothing, no reason for why it's ranked this way. Dreams, I know, I kind of know about Dreams. It's like you can create levels in Dreams. You can create different
levels.
Different levels in
Yeah,
Dreams.
and also this game's rated a 9.
I'm not sure. I mean, I can't really say, like, I have no opinion on it because I haven't played it. So I can't really say if the ranking here is, if that's a decent ranking for it or not.
I would kind of say that it is at that, because it's a good.
What did
they gave it a 9. Like, I'll say this.
Okay.
It's
okay, I'm not opening. I'm gonna be very selective with what I do open, because they continuously ask you if you want to whitelist them, and I'm just tired of seeing this.
It's okay. I'll be the ad clicker, whatever that is. Just so yeah, they gave it a 9. But what I was trying to say, it's a good game builder, but it's not gonna pique anyone's interest. I kind of would put it at the bottom of the list, actually. Yep.
Yeah. And then we have Final Fantasy VII Remake at number 19. I have played this game. It'd probably be a little bit higher than 19. I thought it was a little bit better than that. Would not put it in 19. Of course, they're just talking about how long we had to wait for the game. Revitalizes the JRPGs in a mostly successful and engaging way. They're not going to expand on that, of course.
Well,
just describe the game some more. Talking about what the future of the next Final Fantasy VII game might do. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, but why is it 19? I don't know.
You know a funny thing about that too? They don't have a review for it. They don't have the link for it.
I'm pretty sure they reviewed it though,
but they didn't put the link to it. So you know what?
Oh yeah, you're right. It's not on here.
They gave it an 8 out of 10. Okay, so Yakuza 0 better score, Apex Legends, Monster Hunter, like all the other games before Final Fantasy VII, they rank it at 19.
Yeah. I will say this is, I consider this to be a cardinal sin. Overwatch is somehow above Final Fantasy VII Remake.
And they had...
Overwatch is a game that I don't think a lot of people really like. I feel like a lot of the player base has kind of left the game, honestly. Like, there's some people that still play the game, but I don't think it's as many people as there used to be playing.
Yeah, it's like Rainbow Six Siege. It's how that turned out.
Yeah. Of course, they're just describing it as a brilliant multiplayer shooter. Blah, blah, blah.
There is
just
their newest review for this goddamn game. They gave it a 10. The 2020 update
for
Overwatch.
Oh, Overwatch. Yeah. There's a lot of these different journalists that are kind of in Blizzard's pocket, so I'm not too surprised by that.
Honestly, I wouldn't even put this fucking game. This and Apex Legends, I wouldn't even put them on the list. I just take those fuckers out.
Ratchet and Clank, I think that's the tie-in game. Yeah. And of course they're showing the Rift Apart trailer. They're just describing the game. I mean, I just don't understand this ranking. It's just, you're putting that above Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is a much more anticipated game. I think a lot of people would agree that it is a much more anticipated game than Ratchet and Clank. I mean, there's a lot of people who like Ratchet and Clank, but Final Fantasy VII has been around longer, and it has more of a fan base, I think, than Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they gave that a 9, by the way. Ratchet and Clank got a 9 from them.
Yeah, and this is another thing too, that What Remains of Edith Finch, which is I believe is a walking sim. That's above Final Fantasy VII Remake and Ratchet and Clank, and it's a walking sim.
The only thing I will give What Remains of Edith Finch I'll give the fact that it looks pretty, but it's not a game that I would put on this list. Like any walking sim, I'd take off the list unless it had good substance.
Yeah, and is that even an exclusive?
No. Well,
okay, that's not an exclusive.
It's only PS4 and PC. But if you're talking about consoles, then maybe.
Yeah. Uncharted 4 Thief's End, this is debatable. Like, I'd put it a little bit lower.
I think where it's at right now is actually kind of perfect.
I don't know what this means. Uncharted 4 is Uncharted all grown up.
No.
What does that mean? Does that just mean like it's I don't know what he means by that. Like, does it just mean like it's reached the climax of character progression or story
he continues it on. An examination of what happens when Nathan Drake's an Indiana Jones style.
Oh, okay. That's my bad. I didn't read the rest of it. Adult responsibility. I guess he means just like retiring from being
treasure hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the scene him, like,
I can kind of see that.
I can understand.
Okay, but hold on. I'm just gonna. Why is MGS5 above
all these other games?
Okay. MGS5, it had potential, but it's not. People need to accept this. It's not a finished game. It's not a finished game. Why is it above a game that was finished and polished to a point where it looks good and it runs well on the system, and it is a complete story, as opposed to MGS5, which is a part of a story that never got finished.
They even say it right in the fucking thing. So ambitious, in fact, that it's something of an unfinished masterpiece.
It being a masterpiece is debatable.
Gameplay is,
but
if we're talking about,
it's not even somewhat of an unfinished game. It is literally an unfinished game because there's only the first half of the game is even finished, and then the rest of the game is side missions, and then at the end of the game is when they shoehorn an ending in there.
By spoilers, by people that never played it, fucking Venom Snake was the medic.
Yep. Also not an exclusive. So
not an exclusive. Shitty story, but has good gameplay. But it didn't deserve a 10 out of 10.
Resident Evil 2, and not an exclusive remake, also.
That's another
remake. I really wouldn't put it here on this list.
You gave it a 9.
Personal preference.
The only remake I would actually put on this list maybe would be Resident Evil 2 and Final Fantasy 7, but that's, again, debatable.
Is Resident Evil 3 on here?
Resident Evil 3? Nope.
Yeah. That's really interesting that's not on here. I was afraid he was going to put it higher than Resident Evil 2 remake for a second. I was like, somebody's fucking crazy.
If he did that, you know that this list would be going off the rails here.
I feel like in some ways it has, just because a walking simulator was put above like Final Fantasy VII remake and Nier Automata,
and Tetris,
Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, now we.
I mean, I guess you could say Ghost of Tsushima is in a good place. I'd put it higher.
Agreed. But, honestly, I have to ask, if you had to give a score by first impressions review, if you had to give like a score so far, what would you give it?
I'd give it a 9.
Yeah, honestly, that's actually a fitting score. I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece in any way, but it does a lot of things right.
Yeah, for sure.
I say 9 because that's what they give it to.
I'm not even really going to bother reading some of these because it's just a description of each of these games, and it's basically just praise for the game, and there's no real criticism here. So, no points as to why it's even on this list the way it is. So, yeah. Red Dead Redemption 2 is above Ghost of Tsushima.
And it's not an exclusive. Honestly,
it's not an exclusive, and it's I guess this is really debatable as to where if Ghost is better than Red Dead or if Red Dead is better than Ghost. They're two very different. I mean, well, I would say they're very similar games, and they're both open world, but very different time periods, very different settings.
Honestly, I would say very different because each game has different shit to do in it. But overall, the Red Dead 2 has, like, I wouldn't say a better story, but it has a somewhat better narrative, a fictional narrative, while Ghost of Tsushima had a better historical narrative.
Yeah, I can see that. Then we have, and this is the most. This here.
Yeah.
No, this should be at the very, very fucking bottom, if anything.
A 7.5 game. This is by their. Keep in mind, this is by their fucking ranking. A 7.5 out of 10 game at number 10.
Yeah, it's like, why? I mean, if you're getting near the top of this list, it should mostly, at least in my opinion, be games that are rated pretty highly, not like 7, 6,
10, 8, even.
Yeah, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is a standalone DLC for Uncharted 4.
And they put it above Ghost of Tsushima, Red Dead 2, a fucking Yakuza 0, Tetris Effect, Nier Automata, Monster Hunter World. They put all the good games on the bottom.
I haven't played Lost Legacy, but I've seen gameplay of it. I know what it is. I know what it's about.
It's nothing special.
Like, to me, this is just more journalist kind of sucking up the Naughty Dog, which we're going to see more of as we go further on in this list.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this next one is not Naughty Dog, but it's still weird why it's so high and why it's higher than Ghost and higher than even Red Dead 2. And it's not a bad game, but it's not like, I don't know what it's doing at this spot. Control. Control, like, I haven't played Control. It has interesting game mechanics and that, like, you know, you can use telekinesis and all these other, like, powers and stuff. And it's kind of like, I guess you could say Quantum Break done right, even though there's not really, like, time stopping or anything. It's more like telekinetic powers, I guess. Or
from what because I own it, I never played it yet. But from what I've seen,
they describe it as a fever dream shared by Stanley Kubrick and David Lynch.
No.
I don't know. I don't know about that comparison.
No,
but,
I wouldn't say even that. I would say it's like a fucking sci-fi thriller, quote-unquote.
I feel like that's kind of really, really high praise. Now, I'm not necessarily sure if that is deserved. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Remedy, but if it were anything like Stanley Kubrick or David Lynch, it would be like some kind of really, like, art house type game, like, you know, because that's the kind of movies they did, was like art house cinema, and you know, that's, from what I've seen of the game, that's not really what it reminds me of. To me, it's more comparable to, like I mentioned before, another game they worked on, Quantum Break.
Or Alan Wake.
And Alan Wake. It's basically like kind of a combination of certain things that came before it.
You want to know a fun fact about Control? And IGN says it's kind of like a two parallel thing. They actually gave Control Game of the Year last year. Yeah,
no.
They put it at number 9. Like, Control, visually, it looks impressive. It looks good. But, I don't know. It's a mixed bag for people.
I guess it is really like Control.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, I'll agree with this listing. Like, this isn't a bad place. Spider-Man was really good.
I would kind of put it a little higher.
Yeah.
But they gave it an 8.7 too.
Probably put it like maybe around top 5.
Close to there, yeah. I would probably put it number 5, really, or maybe 4.
Yeah.
Just be nice.
And more just descriptions of the game. This isn't. Okay. So did we mention? Yeah, Control's not exclusive.
Nope, that's not. And they gave it an 8.8, but still gave it a year.
Yeah. Spider-Man, they're basically just showing stuff from Miles Morales Spider-Man, not actual Spider-Man they're talking about, but okay.
I love how they're showing things that aren't even relevant or appropriate for the list.
Yeah, it seems like hype, basically, just like a lot of hype, like trying to hype you up for the thing that's coming next year, I guess. And then we have something that, okay, so this was an exclusive, and then we have Horizon Zero Dawn, which also is another exclusive, and it's a good game. I'd give it a 7, honestly. It's
not the best.
It's nothing special. Like, there's some interesting things about it, such as like you fighting against these machines that kind of behave like animals.
Yeah.
But in terms of, it's an open world game. It's really nothing you haven't seen before. So I would say you're really not missing much by not having played it.
It's interesting.
But it's a decent game for what it is.
And they gave it a 9.3, but also this is a timed exclusive since it's coming to Steam.
Yep, it's coming to Steam. Yeah, so this no longer is really only on the PS4. Yeah. But yeah, they're basically just describing the game. I would not put this so high. I'd maybe put it at like 10 if I were to rank it, I guess, in terms of exclusives. Yeah. Okay. GTA 5,
non-exclusive and started on the PS3 and 360.
Yeah, this has been on a few different platforms. Quite a few different platforms.
But they gave it a perfect 10. They called it a masterpiece. Greatest open world.
Maybe give it an 8.
Greatest open world felony simulator.
Felony simulator.
What do you really call it?
I don't know what that means.
Well, you're basically killing. You're basically fucking.
Well, I mean, I know what it means, but it's just like the way they word that. Like it's you're playing as a criminal. Well, no shit.
Awkward as fuck.
Yeah. Okay, so this is just. I don't know if I mean, obviously I wouldn't even list this because it's not an exclusive, but number 6, like,
maybe number, like, somewhere in the top 10, maybe below it.
Yeah, like top 10, yeah. Maybe like a 6, or not a 6, but like a 7, 8.
Maybe a 10.
9. Persona 5 Royal. This is actually exclusive.
And they also gave it a 10. Like,
yeah,
I agree. This should be in the top 5.
I do agree with this listing. Number 4, Witcher 3, not an exclusive.
But still a good game.
But if this were also just not even an exclusive list, I would probably put this in the same place. I agree with number 4. I just don't agree that it should be on this particular list because it's not a PS4 exclusive.
Yeah.
Number 3, Bloodborne.
9.3 for Witcher 3. I think they gave Bloodborne like a 9.6.
Yeah, well, Bloodborne was good. It's probably like my favorite Souls game.
9.
So, yeah, I think I would have probably agree with this ranking.
I agree with it too because it is a good game. Belongs in the top 5. Maybe for me it would probably be like at number 3. So that's a good spot.
Yep. And of course above that we have the game of the year, The Last of Us Part 2.
Game of the year 2020, Last of Us Part 2, which
somehow this is above Persona 5 Royal. This is above fucking Horizon. The games that were, I just basically just, had a decent story, had, fairly decent story at least, and it was fun to play, not a depressing, nihilistic fucking slog of a game that can barely even be considered a game. But yeah, Last of Us Part 2, of course, is above that because, of course, this is IGN, and IGN is one of the game journalists that are trying to really suck up to Naughty Dog and Neil Cuckman. Yeah, so nobody should really be surprised by where this is ranked here. I would not even have this on the list. It doesn't even deserve to be on the list.
And fucking, I would rather put Metal Gear Solid 5 on the list rather than this game.
I just want to read this too. Last of Us 2 is the pinnacle of Naughty Dog storytelling ambitions during the life of PS4.
This is the first one that was, you said part.
They're referencing the first, yeah, this is Part 2's ambitious, uncompromising story delivers at nearly every unexpected turn with character acts that are poignant, risky, and devastating.
Character arcs.
We pulled out I'm waiting for them to pull out the thesaurus and call it and say it's a harrowing experience.
Let's see.
Naughty Dog asks you, the player, to do your best to reckon with morally ambiguity in ways that have evoked some of the strongest across-the-board reactions that we've seen from any game ever. Yeah, they have. But I'm not really sure if it's the reactions that you wanted.
They had like really terrible ones. A lot of people said, "Oh yeah, I killed a dog." Well, great. The game forces you to kill a dog. Fuck this game.
It's also perhaps Naughty Dog's most mechanically complex game to date. Disagree. It's more or less the same gameplay as the first game, but they updated a few things, so not really. And its stealth and action systems deliver moment after moment that feel like they should be scripted, but they are scripted and to an extent, but are instead entirely dynamic. No, actually, there are scripted parts of the game where you basically have to do something. Apparently, there's a part of the game where you have to kill the dog. Like, you cannot avoid killing a dog in one of the sections. So, I don't think that I would call that dynamic. That's something you have to do in order to progress. So, that's in a way scripted. It may be one of the more divisive games this generation, so we put it at a 2. But it's also one of the best, an absolute haymaker of a game that we can't stop thinking about. And a lot of other people couldn't either, but not for the reasons you wanted. And I'm pretty sure that's why there were so many people returning the game and trying to get refunds, and why they had to stop taking refunds from people, because Naughty Dog was trying their damnedest to damage control.
And also keep the fastest selling game with like 4 million copies. And I'm like, just because a game's sold... Here's another thing. I love how people love to use statistics to say that a game is good. Just because a game sold very well doesn't necessarily mean it's good. It could be the greatest thing known to Jesus Christ. It's like the second coming of Christ. Or it could be moldy bread. Not very good.
Yeah, it's like, it's not even surprising the game sold well. It's The Last of Us. It's the sequel to The Last of Us. Normies are gonna buy it. People are gonna buy it.
Little kids are gonna buy it. They're gonna say, "I want to get Last of Us Part 2. It's the shit." True story.
Yeah. Like, sales numbers don't equal quality. But people like to use this argument, and it's never gone away, and it never gets less annoying when the sales argument is used, because sales, like I said, sales don't equate to quality.
You want to know a better game that sold really well, but it's a better game? Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. I would I'd definitely put that pretty high on this list, probably top 5.
Agreed.
Number 1, we have God of War.
Yep.
It's a better game than The Last of Us Part 2.
I don't think it should be at number 1.
No, it's... God of War was also another game that was kind of divisive, just because it was a different approach to God of War, and it had a very different gameplay from the from the original God of War game.
Because they're
different story, different approach to Kratos as a
different
character.
gameplay mechanics.
And I can see people's argument for why they don't care for that. And to some extent, like, it's an okay game, I would say, from what I've played of it. Like, it's fun, but I already, like, and I haven't even gotten that far in the game, but I can already kind of see some of the problems with it, such as so many bosses being trolls. Like, it feels like there's almost no variety in the boss fights. And I don't know. It's just, I feel like it does some things well, and then at times the game feels like kind of a slog. Like, it's kind of hard to get through at times, and it's just, I don't know. It's, as a God of War game, I'm just not sure if this is the direction I feel like they should be going. But again, it's really, like, I can't really say too much about it as I haven't finished the game yet,
like,
so
like,
I don't know.
Visually, it's good, but I have a...
I do like that they're kind of, it sort of acts like a soft reboot, and you know they're doing Nordic mythology and not Greek mythology anymore. That's kind of interesting.
I also will give the cinematography a good one too, because it's all kind of like it's still like one take. It's an never-ending one take. That's all it is until you die.
Yeah.
Screens, which is good.
Yeah, I can, like I said, I can see people's complaints with the game, and I have some of my own, but it's still a fun game for what it is. Does it deserve to be number one? In my opinion, no. I'd probably put it somewhere in, maybe in the top 10 or maybe below that. It's hard to say. So far, I would say the game is either, I'm debating between a 6 or a 7. I'm not really sure which.
I'd probably give it like a 7 too. But yeah, all these exclusives. If you had to say the 5 exclusives that you probably would put in your top 5, what would it be?
Ghost of Tsushima. Let me think.
I already know that a lot of the list would probably be like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay, maybe say like Persona 5 number 5.
Persona 5 would probably.
Ghost of Tsushima, I'd probably have number 4. What else?
There's also, well, are we gonna go like with the Yakuza 0, like the Times exclusive thing, or other exclusives that were already there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we're trying to remain relevant, then no.
Okay.
But I guess it depends on when the article is posted. Considering the date this was posted, it's like, yeah, those aren't exclusive anymore because those are time exclusive.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of want to put like.
It's hard to
it's
say.
Really hard
like,
to say because not.
I don't know.
My thing is like, even though a game has like different scores, all that, or scores, that's the best way to describe it. Scores don't really necessarily mean anything. It's how you enjoy the game, like the satisfaction you get from it.
Yeah.
Like in this list, all this list just proved is that it was trying to say, hey, we actually really enjoyed these games over the other ones, even though they were ranked higher. But at the same time, they failed at it.
Yeah, it's just a really weird list. So IGN is just being IGN, and this is just, it's like I said, not surprising to me that this is ranked the way it is, but yeah, it's still really stupid the way these games are ranked, and also not to mention a lot of these aren't even exclusives. So yeah, nice PS4 exclusive list, IGN. I don't really have anything else to really say about it except that it's very bizarre and it's very the choices are very strange.
I do have one thing, Chaos. I have a confession. I don't like God of War, the 2018 game.
Nah, I mean, I can't really.
They took away. The main reason why is because Kratos can't jump. That's why.
Oh,
that's why.
Apparently, yeah, a lot of people have problems with that too. Like
Kratos can't jump, but he's an old man.
Oh yeah, he's a very old man.
Or aged.
What's weird to me about that game is like he got married again and he had a kid, and like it happened off screen. We didn't really see that.
They'll probably explain it later.
It's just yeah. But anyways, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this more rambling video, and where we just kind of find these weird articles people have written, and maybe some interesting videos that people have done giving their opinions on something or whatever, what have you, I guess. Maybe do something like that. Levy just kind of brought this idea up where we can kind of find these different articles and things on the internet and kind of give our own opinions or kind of riff on them.
Give our own thoughts of like what's going on. Like this is a perfect example. We gave our opinions on this list. The list is stupid. It makes no sense.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. And yeah, until next time, we will see you all later.